President Trump's ban on immigrants from 6 Muslim-majority countries has been slapped down in federal court. The Hill explains a Richmond, Virginia-based federal appeals court on Thursday refused to reinstate President Trump's ban on nationals from 6 majority Muslim countries from entering the U.S., delivering a major blow to the Trump administration. The Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals said in a 10-3 ruling, that Trump's executive order speaks with vague words of national security, but in context drips with religious intolerance, animus, and discrimination. In delivering the opinion of the court, Judge Roger Gregory wrote that Congress granted the president broad power to deny entry to aliens, but that power is not absolute. It cannot go unchecked when, as here, the president wields it through an executive edict that stands to cause irreparable harm to individuals across this nation, he wrote. In addition to being discriminatory, the court found that the order would delay and disrupt pending visa applications. The court's decision keeps a Maryland court's order blocking the ban in place. So 10-3 is a pretty overwhelming ruling here, and one of the things that some of the judges brought up is, who are we kidding? Look at the intent of this. Trump said repeatedly on the campaign trail he wants a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the country. But perhaps more importantly, when crafting this, he called Rudy Giuliani and asked him, hey, how can I do a Muslim ban but make it legal? So the intent was clear, and as a result of that, the judges were like, yeah, we're not buying your, like, slightly tweaked / revised version of a Muslim ban, and we're going to go ahead and slap it down. So, and by the way, when you want to talk about, you know, facts and numbers in regards to whether or not this would actually make the United States of America safer, there's been a total, from 1975 and onward, there's been a total of 0 deadly terror attacks from all of the countries on the banned list. The original list had, I think, 1 more country, and they removed that country, but still 0 deaths. And, you know, wow, isn't it strange? They want to do a ban to keep America safe and got to get rid of the Muslims. But the home of Wahhabi Islam, Saudi Arabia, the most radical of all the different strains of Islam, the ones who were responsible for funding 9/11, the ones who currently funnel arms and money to jihadists in Syria and Yemen, they're not on the list. Weird. So weird how the country that would be number 1 on the banned list, if you were actually to try to break it down by direct threat, it's not even on the list. So strange. It's because it's a political stunt is what they're doing. And of course, Saudi Arabia has an oil deal with us, and they're our butt buddy, they're our top ally, and we give them weapons and money, and so they're above scrutiny. That's the way it is. Israel can do what they want. Saudi Arabia can do what they want. If you're a client state of ours, hey, you get a free pass, and of course we're not going to crack down on you. Let's be serious. Let's go to poor Muslim countries and crack down on them. That's a good way to do it. And by the way, I'm not saying you should ban people from Saudi Arabia. Of course you shouldn't, because the overwhelming majority of people who would come from Saudi Arabia are not going to be a problem at all. So what, are you going to punish the innocent supermajority because there might be a slim minority that does horrible things? I don't think that's reasonable. I don't think that's rational. And apparently the court agrees with me. And they also say it's flat out illegal and unconstitutional. And let's also be clear that a lot of this decision was down to technicalities on how this would affect the visa applications. To me, I mean, the logical policy when it comes to immigration I've maintained is just vet on a case-by-case basis. Guys, we already have the most rigorous vetting process in the world, specifically when it comes to refugees. So everybody's like, oh my God, you can't let Syrian refugees. First of all, we're letting in very few Syrian refugees. In Europe, they're taking millions and millions. We've taken, what, 50,000? Thereabouts? And they have 6 different government agencies that are part of it. They do biometric screening. They look into your records, everything. So we have a very rigorous process, and they vet on a case-by-case basis. And on top of all that, like 80% of the refugees we let in are women and children. So it's an irrational fear. If you're in the U.S., you're like, refugees, I'm so scared. And it's just not, that's not reasonable based on the facts, based on how strong our vetting process already is and the people that we're letting in. And the most reasonable way to do it is vet everybody on a case-by-case basis. Just that, you're from Iraq, you're from Yemen, so I'm just going to ban you by definition, by default. You're not allowed in. That's stupid. That's broad, gross, general thinking. And why not learn the facts of each specific case and say, okay, let's make a decision based on that? So, I mean, look, I don't know how anybody could disagree with that on the right or the left. If you're an individualist, you go, let me look at this individual and whether or not they should be able to come into the United States. And then most of the time, you're probably going to come to the conclusion, yeah, there's no problem here, and then you let them in. So vetting on a case-by-case basis is the preferred path forward when it comes to refugees, when it comes to immigrants, and when it comes to virtually anybody. There's no need. It's just gratuitous and asinine to do giant, you were born on that patch of dirt in that region of the world, so I'm not going to let you in. I'm not even going to look. I'm not even going to give a split-second look at the file. Forget about it. So that's just my take on the way this policy should be executed and the kind of immigration and refugee policy we should have.